Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're going to talk about something huge. How security can go from being a total bottleneck to your team's greatest superpower.
All right, let's jump right in. We're going to kick things off by looking at this, it's a real paradox, right at the heart of how we build software today.
So why is it that getting faster actually made us more vulnerable? I mean, think about it. The whole DevOps revolution was amazing, right? We could build and ship code at a speed we'd never seen before. But, and this is a big but, it came with this hidden cost, and it left security teams completely scrambling to keep up.
And this number, wow, this really gets to the heart of the problem. We're talking about a ratio of 1,200 to 1. That's 1,200 developers for every single application security engineer. I mean, how can one person possibly keep up with that? The result? Well, it's kind of obvious when you see that number. As development speed just skyrocketed, the number of vulnerabilities went right up with it. Security just fell further and further behind. It's an impossible situation. With a ratio like that, there's just no way for security teams to keep pace, which means a huge workload for them, and unfortunately, more vulnerabilities making their way into production.
So, okay, that's the problem. How did we first try to fix it? Well, the initial instinct was, let's just say, a seemingly simple fix.
The big idea was to shift left, right? You've probably heard that term. The thinking was, let's just add a bunch of automated security tools early in the development pipeline. And hey, catching problems early is a good thing. But here's the catch. Just bolting on more tools without actually changing the culture, well, that usually creates way more friction than it solves.
And this right here, this shows you the core conflict perfectly. You've got the old security mindset versus the DevSecOps mindset. In the old way, you have these completely separate silos. Developers, they're rewarded for speed. Operations, they want stability. And security, their job is to reduce risk, which, you guessed it, almost always means slamming on the brakes and slowing everyone down.
And what does that lead to? All sorts of bad stuff. You get these siloed teams that don't talk to each other, a security team that's totally burned out with high turnover, and a mountain of technical debt in the form of vulnerabilities. It creates these really contentious relationships, turning the security team into what everyone calls the team of no, and it ends up killing the very speed the business was trying to achieve in the first place.
Okay, so it's pretty clear at this point, right? The real solution here isn't just about buying more tools. It requires a completely new philosophy, a whole new security culture.
I love this quote. DevSecOps is about more than just adding security at the end of the pipeline. It's about baking it into every stage. So instead of treating security like this final gate you have to pass or some clunky add-on, you're making it an essential ingredient from the very start. It's not a final inspection, it's part of the recipe.
So what is DevSecOps really? It's a cultural transformation. It's about integrating security practices right into the DevOps process. And yeah, it involves technology and process, but the most important piece, it's the people. At its absolute core, it is a fundamental shift in mindset, where everyone, and I mean everyone, shares the responsibility for security.
And this is so much bigger than just shifting left. The real goal here is to shift everywhere. You're embedding security practices and, just as importantly, security thinking into the entire software development lifecycle, from beginning to end.
So what does that actually look like? Well, you start right at the beginning in the planning stage with threat modeling. As you develop, you focus on secure coding practices. During the build, you've got automated tools like static testing, SAST. Then in the test phase, you bring in dynamic testing, or DAST. Even the release gets security with digital signatures. And it doesn't stop there. You keep monitoring and scanning continuously in production. You see? It becomes this constant thread woven through everything, not just a series of gates.
Okay, so that's the what. But how do you actually put this culture into practice? Let's break down some of the core principles that really make it work.
And this first one, psychological safety, might be the most important one on the list. It's number one for a reason. You have to move away from a culture of fear and blame, where heads roll after a breach. Instead, you create an environment where people feel safe to experiment, to take risks, and most importantly, to report mistakes without being punished. It's about encouraging transparency over trying to hide things.
Okay, next up. Automate everything you possibly can. Remember that 1,200 to 1 ratio we talked about? This is how you help those completely overwhelmed security teams. By using things like infrastructure as code and security as code, you create processes that are consistent, repeatable, and way less prone to human error. It's what allows security to actually scale with development.
I love this saying. Fail fast, learn fast, but don't fail twice for the same reason. This is at the heart of DevSecOps. It embraces experimentation. The goal isn't to never fail, that's impossible. The goal is to learn from your failures as quickly as you can and feed those lessons right back into the process to make the whole system stronger.
Now let's talk about something that is absolutely critical for modern applications, APIs. This chart says it all. APIs are now the #1 attack vector. I mean, Gartner predicted this would happen, and it came true. With everything being so interconnected, APIs are basically the new front door for attackers trying to get to your data. So, what's the principle here? It's simple. You have to treat every single API as a first-class citizen. They can't be an afterthought. They need proper documentation, proper testing, and the same level of respect and security focus you'd give to any other critical part of your infrastructure. Because they are the new perimeter.
So after all that, why does this really matter? Why should your organization care? Well, the payoff, it goes way beyond just preventing security breaches.
When you get DevSecOps right, you get a real competitive business edge. You get faster time to market, but with higher quality. You get the ability to out-experiment your competition. You get safer, more resilient systems, and maybe best of all, you get a high-trust collaborative work culture. See, adopting DevSecOps isn't just a defensive play. It's a strategic advantage that lets you innovate faster and more safely than everyone else.
So here's the big takeaway. DevSecOps turns security from this thing everyone sees as a cost center into a true business enabler. It's what helps you win. By breaking down those old silos and making security a shared responsibility, you just plain build better, more secure products, and you get them out the door faster.
And that really brings us to the final question, the one I want to leave you with. Take a look at your own organization. Are you building a security culture, or are you just buying more security tools? Because true security, the kind that lasts, isn't something you can just purchase off a shelf. It's something you have to build together.